Hello everyone, welcome to um I was just about to say what if civilization started over. Not yet. I can make this into a new series where it's like new empires and stuff. If you don't know exactly what this is I'm really sorry if I pronounce this wrong, but the Sápmi.
Sápmi, 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 Sápmi.
Well, this is the land of Sápmi, otherwise known as Lapland. However, I'm not going to call it that because that's a little bit rude to the people who live here. They're the Sámi people. I took quite a while to learn about these people to make this video, but basically, this is going to be like, what if Switzerland made an empire type of video. Um, like that, except it's this. I do technically have one other video up on my channel that is related to this. It's the Axume Empire, I think. I think it's over here. It's the Axume Empire thing over here. I made a video about that. It wasn't the best video, but it's whatever. Please stay hydrated and enjoy the video. I hope you like it. This is my first one in quite a while. Sorry if the map looks a little stupid. I'm kind of using, I'm not gonna lie, I'm using a dumb map. I think I should like completely revamp my map so that it's not like soft on the edges, so that it's nice and like, I should make it like that and stuff, but I haven't done that yet and I haven't thought to do it, and it's, I don't know, it's a struggle. And you may be asking why Russia isn't involved with this, because obviously Russia's land is being impeded on. But basically, it's going to be a little bit complicated to explain a little bit. But it's like, these guys, this is still owned by Russia. They don't actually claim this, but I'm including this in because eventually they will. And also because, like, they are taking the people, that live here, and also a bunch of people who live in, I can't remember what this place is called, the Kola Peninsula and Murmansk and stuff like that, this region. Uh, and there's more people living down here, obviously, because this is freezing. This is in the Arctic Circle. This is not. Right here, there's a lot more people living, and they are suddenly migrating up, and Russia knows that the people, the indigenous people of the Sami, they are, um, you know, on their way to help with the war. If you didn't know, the Sami, like Sami, means, well, okay, I should probably explain. Sápmi, which is the name of their land, is literally, it means in their language the land, and then Sami means people of the land. So I'm just letting you know that now. That's what their name actually means. I'm gonna say they have a pretty good advantage because like these guys have been developing this. Obviously, this is a fictional scenario, by the way, so it's not the most realistic thing ever, obviously. Um, but the Sami people, they are very known for like their culture centers a lot around reindeer. So uh, they have bought some stuff from some other countries. Um, Even slightly, they stole from this one. They bought some equipment and stole some equipment, and they've weaponized their reindeers and their sleds so that they're basically like tanks being pulled by armored reindeers. That's really cool. Also, these guys have skis. They're very good at skiing and whatnot, and also they're very knowledgeable in traversing mountains, and they've taken the time to get even more knowledgeable about it. So invading into Norway, these really mountainous regions of Norway, shouldn't be very hard for them because, well, they know how to traverse a mountain. They know how to ski really fast through a mountain, which is definitely very handy in war because the military of Norway is mainly stationed here. They're just moving up into the cold, cold, cold winter. Sápmi, the country, is, I'm also going to call this republic. I don't know if this would actually reasonably be a republic, but it's whatever. They're going to make their first invasion into this little piece of Finland so that they can cut off this as fast as they possibly can. However, I'm not sure how what, it's successful. However, I don't know how effective this is going to be because these guys have like they have like no navy at all. Also, these guys are kind of underpowered if I'm being completely honest. Like in manpower, these guys are like I can't remember what it was specifically, but I think there's like 70 million Sami in this region and like a lot of the others in the other regions like down. A lot of them are in Oslo actually. So we might see something there to do with that. Um, but what just happened to I don't I was basically trying to say these guys have like 80 million people in total and I mean they are sending most of them to war. By the way, these guys not the most they've taken the time to educate themselves, but they're not the most knowledgeable in war because the Sami people actually have no record at all of going to war at all with each other, with other regions, with anything. They are generally peaceful people, so this is a first for them. Now, we're going to see Finland is, well, they're going to have a pretty good time. Hold up. Actually, before we do this, we're actually going to do Norway since I mentioned them earlier. Norway is going to use their, because Norway also has got some nice, sorry, I don't know why I'm starting up there, some nice mountaineer um, skills. I mean, they're not the best at all. This has probably taken them a lot longer than this took, which this is really hard to do because it's Finland and this is pretty populated. This is not populated. They're basically just wasting their time and resources, but it's Norway, so. Speaking of Finland and their population, it's not going to take very long for them to kick back this operation and eventually connect back up. They're also sending some reinforcements into here so that this doesn't happen again. But there is a little bit of, I guess, resistance right here, but it doesn't last too long. So basically, Sámi just decides that they're going to take a different approach to this region. This little, I'm pretty sure some of this region is actually, never mind. Yeah. Also, by the way, I'm just letting you guys know, this was the 500th, by the way. This is not the most accurate thing ever. I had to draw this myself, and there's a lot of different maps that and these guys technically have had different zonings and like overall there's a lot more depth and like it's a lot more complicated than this, but this is just generalized so that it's easier for you to see on the map and not genuinely making you want to rip your eyeballs out. We're going to see that the Sami are, well, they're in trouble. in mighty trouble because Sweden is making their way, well, yeah, they're slithering their way up the coast. Here we go. Uh, the Sami people are not going to pay too much mind to this. They're going to go ahead and they're going to push up to this river, and this is kind of where they're going to stay. They're going to stay. They're going to try and hold this, so they're going to switch their offensive to a defensive and try and keep this bit as much as they possibly can, so that they can sort of, establish that those grounds. So what the hell is happening right here? But yeah, and then Sweden is, I mean, they don't necessarily need to do this because they're stronger, but they're gonna kind of do the same thing, where they're going to meet up with Norway first, um, and they're gonna kind of push up to this river right here, which this sucks because it's the same color basically, but yeah. In case you didn't know, I have rivers now on my normal maps, and I also have mountains. So obviously there's a little bit of a interesting thing. Also, I thought that the mountains were way closer to the coast, but I guess this makes a little bit more sense now. And since that's the case, I'm just gonna make it to where they've there's still not a lot going on up here. So yeah, there's always that. But overall, we can kind of see who's winning and who's losing, but that's about to change. See, this whole time, the Sami people have kind of been rallying up their culture and rallying up their people to join in this operation. And as I mentioned earlier, Oslo, which I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure that's not Oslo, I'm pretty sure that's just an island. I may be wrong, but I'm just going to color there so it's easier. Oslo is basically rebelling away. Rebelling. The Sami people are rebelling away, and there's actually a lot of citizens of Norwegian citizens who are kind of agreeing with the clause of the the people of the Sápmi Republic. Now, this is basically just going to be a really bad battle. This also, Norway's trying to be really careful about this because this is their capital city, obviously. This is one of their most popular cities, if not the most. And there's a lot of people here, so they have to be really careful about how they do this war. But it obviously is going interestingly because there's a large spread of people agreeing with the Sami people, and well, the invasion at this point is kind of just like a incorporation, but it's an invasion and it's expanding faster than Norway would want. This is gonna result in them kind of just giving up occupying this land. Like all the people are just gonna go back because quite a decent amount of these people are going down to their hometown to get the indigenous people out. This gives the Sami people a lot of hope, and they are able to gather up morale and begin to invade into more of Finland, potentially wanting to get this border for specific reasons that will prove useful later. But yeah, they're connecting up. They're kind of making a bunch of small invasions and connecting them up. And while all of this is happening with their tank reindeers, which are actually pretty effective, it's just they don't have very many. You gotta also realize these guys, they don't have an air force, honestly. And I mean, Scandinavian countries are okay, I think, in air force, but these guys have none, so they're kind of getting bombed up, which sucks. And also, they don't have a navy, so they're kind of screwed. However, the navy problem is beginning to resolve itself because they're kind of just like jotting down, taking notes, instead of exploding the ships that they capture, they actually capture them, basically dissect them and rebuild them to make themselves. And yeah, they're basically having an industrial revolution times two, I guess. Like they're having a revolution in creating an industry for themselves because it's not like they're behind. There is a lot of technology up here and they're utilizing it, but it's just, it doesn't compare to southern Scandinavia. The Battle of Oslo is still progressing, and it's starting to go less good for the Sami people. The new the wave of Norwegians coming from up here, along with some others stationed in other regions, are beginning to clump up, and I'm pretty sure there's even a little bit of Finnish. So they got a lot of people in Oslo are beginning to just get infuriated because of this, that they would even like have this fight here. And they're kind of mad that they wouldn't just have it happen somewhere else and just like, or just call it peace so that these people don't destroy their hometown. And like, it's, this is a lot of mixed signals for, you know, the world. Because first of all, the world's like confused why they're even being aggressive in the first place because uh, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a normal thing for these guys to even think about doing war effort or anything. So definitely an interesting progression in history. As you can tell, I don't know what this section of land is, but this section of land near this gulf thingy um, is basically encircled, practically. They still have this little bit, but it's not going to last for too long as they completely encircle the land. Obviously, this is their land encompassing it. So it's going to be pretty easy to then draw it out of there. But here we have it. They're probably not going to be able to completely like crunch it down because there's still quite a few bit of troops here and they could even break out eventually. But they're going to turn their focus towards Sweden because Sweden is a really big threat right now. Basically, this is going back to what I was talking about earlier. There's basically now a second wave of revolution in the people because these people are kind of like, we need to get it to your Norwegian politician brains that this is not what we need right now, and you should have just declared peace anyways. So they're basically, the people are setting up a revolution so that they can push the war outside of the city so that they can just go home and they can chillax, you know, which is actually proving pretty useful. Obviously not. Majority of civilians are not going to do anything, but there is, it's it's still really practical and it still is a really big dent in Norway. Yeah, as I was mentioning earlier, the whatever the Sami people are basically directing all of their forces towards Sweden. This is for a good reason because Sweden is, at this point, they're probably the most powerful country out of these three, at least in the war, because Norway's struggling for its reasons, and Finland is struggling because, like, yeah, they've lost quite a bit of land. I mean, some will be others, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, we're gonna see that like Finland is gonna start pushing on this a little, and they're just gonna decide we're gonna kind of let go of some of our Finland stuff so that we can fortify this really good. This is really good. Like they've set this down pretty good right here. Um, but they're setting their border as hard as they possibly can. That way they can, provide a little bit more attention towards Sweden, and they can push against Finland's offense. I probably should have mentioned this a lot earlier in the video, but the EU obviously it does not exist, because this would definitely not be possible if the EU was a thing. But yeah, we're basically gonna see Norway is gonna start to, get their butts whooped, I guess. For the Norwegian people are not going any more than Finland, so it's kind of just pushing up to the Norwegian border. Or this is not Finland, Sweden. Sweden is preparing to fend off these dudes, and they are. They're pushing past the border so that they can help up with this northern part. But the Norwegian people are done now, and now, there's a lot bigger. There's a lot bigger of people. It's a lot stronger morale of the Sámi people in this region, and so they're going to, well, they're gonna cause havoc to the Norwegians. We're gonna see the Sam the oh my gosh, dude, the Sami people. They're gonna do really good. They're basically gonna push back all of Norway's advances, and they're gonna tighten around Sweden. You couldn't tell their machines and like their ability is getting better as we continue on, which is an interesting phenomenon. We're actually gonna see all of this get so bad that Norway is just going to plain old surrender. They're just gonna completely surrender, because this is becoming too much for them to bear, and they want to get out of the war as fast as they possibly can, because this is causing too much for them. Their capital is at serious risk still, and it is now a lot more destroyed than it should have been. So they're just gonna, call it quits and let their brothers handle it. Sweden's gonna basically, lock their stuff down. They need to make sure that the Sámi do not do any worse. And they're actually going to, progress into the area of Norway and try and see if they can re-liberate their capital. But I don't see, that if there's that much point in doing that, because the government is in the capital now, and they have already surrendered, and the Hopi people are actually moving up now so that they can do this. They can continue their invasion into Sweden, which is interesting. There's actually a lot more people. These guys their morals are not quite the best anymore. Also, they're going to encircle this a lot more. She's doing pretty well. But their morals are kind of dwindling, I would say, because they are conscripting a slight, it's not that much, but a slight percentage of the Norwegian population is being conscripted into war. So, yeah. And a lot of these conscripted people were moved either here or they moved up here. And obviously, like, this is gonna get knocked back as well. It's gonna get pushed, and they're gonna push all of this past the river and whatnot. And eventually, Sweden is like very close to just retreating back to their. Actually, they're gonna do exactly that. They're gonna retreat some of their land, some of their older lands, so that they can easily push back their previous stuff, because or their actual land, because they don't care the most about these two right now. They're a little bit more focused on themselves because obviously these guys are proving themselves a really bad threat. Now, as the Sami people are finning, they're as they're finishing off this little pocket of people that they starved those people for a long time. So I don't know how they lived for so long. But they're basically clapping Finland. Like, Finland is so cooked. All this is gonna happen, and probably one of the most unlikely things to happen is going to happen. We are gonna see Finland. Yes, you're hearing me right. Finland is going to ask Russia into the war, and Russia is going to say yes. So that's a first for humanity. If we're gonna be totally and frankly honest, I don't think anybody would ever expect Finland to be asking Russia to help, but Russia's gonna help because some land is missing, and also they have some opportunity to get some more land out of Europe. So that's always great, you know. They can just trade and say, "Hey, Finland, we saved your life. You should give us some land." Blah blah blah, and then boom, they get more land. So it's a win-win for them. Russia's first priority is to get their own land back, which is mainly just the Kola Peninsula. I need a. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh wait, no, that's not it. But yeah, this is their main priority. They don't like. They do care about like preserving their neighboring countries and also obtaining their selfish goals up here. Um, but also like they care about themselves more because it's Russia. They obviously don't care. Also, what the flip? Um, also they still got their business going on in Russia, so or going on in Ukraine. So there's only so much manpower that they're able to give Finland and stuff, and it's actually this is kind of a stalemate. Honestly, like there's a little bit of push here, and there's a little bit of push here, and there's there's not too much going on. I mean, honestly, Russia's doing better because Russia is a pretty powerful ish country, um, but this is kind of turning the tide of the war, kind of just a little bit, just a tiny bit. With the immense help of Russia, Finland is also, I mean, Finland and Russia are going to, you know, invade up into here. They're probably not actually occupying all of this all the way up in the Arctic, but you get the point. They're kind of taking a top-down approach into this region right here. And they're also going to kind of spearhead into that, They're kind of doing a reverse type move, and they're encircling this entire area of people, which, if I gotta be honest, it's doing really well. Ever what's not doing well for the blue team is Sweden. They are kind of caving in. Their people are eventually just getting sick of this war. There's no point. Like, we should just let Russia take care of it. And we should call peace so that eventually these guys will get taken care of and we won't have to waste our precious time and money. Because obviously, for every single war, the people have to pay for it. That's how every war goes. Yeah, well, the blue team, obviously, it's not all losses. They are reclaiming this old land. It's been quite a while since they've been over here. And they finally knocked down this, basically a fortress of people right here. And they've almost halfway got it all back, but they have successfully done the thing that they were trying to do, and they've encircled the vast majority of the Sámi people. We're going to see an almost instant retreat from any enemy territory, and they're going to be fighting for their lives against this, because the last thing they want is to be encircled by the big R. The big R over here. Big R. We're going to see, they're going to actually progress just a tiny bit, because they're also fighting against, Poland. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm having a rough day. Finland, they're pushing against Finland because that's who they were fighting initially. And Sweden, I mean, they're getting a bit more morale and stuff, so they're able to kind of like reinforce this border, and they're also able to completely kick them out of their country and reorganize some Norwegian territory. But honestly, there is not a lot of point in Sweden fighting this at this point, because, look, if I'm being completely honest, these guys aren't going to last very long anyways. Yeah. They're considering surrendering, because how successful are they really going to be with Russia? Except we're going to see interference over here. I don't know why there's no specific reason why I'm pointing over here. It could be anything in this region. It could even be over here, but I just randomly decided to do here for no reason at all. Uh, but yeah, there's gonna be some outside influence that's gonna feed in a little bit to these guys, because a certain person has a little bit of a grudge against this entire region and these guys. I don't know who it could possibly be, but we'll see. Whatever this outside force is has a lot of really good volunteer Air Force. So they're actually, and Navy as well. So we're going to see the first naval landing, like actual naval landing done by the Sámi ever. Sámi. This naval landing is going to be right here. They're going to land right in this nose of Finland. And, this is a really populated area, but they have that outside force, and they have the explosive reindeer, or mecha reindeer, so not too much that the Finnish can do about this. So, they're doomed. Russia, they're doing their business, they're pushing. All of the Finnish troops have basically went back to Finland to fight off against this. So this is basically just Russia now. That's why it's going still going fast, but it's not going as fast as it was before. But the Sámi people are they are on here, right here. They are on here. I mean, it's pushing a little bit, just a teeny bit. It's nudging towards Russia's side, but it's still it is. Most of their troops are either here, here, or here, and then they have a decent amount here, but it's mainly US. mainly U.S. troops right here, which some people got something to say about it, but it doesn't matter. Um, Finland is, they're doing pretty decent against it. They're not doing actually that decent. In fact, this might actually be the capital. I actually need to search that up real quick. Okay, never mind. I was way off. It's like down here. I think it might be over here, but it's a down here. So not even close. But this is still really important area. I'm pretty sure they just reliberated a major city, so they got that going for them. But these guys are slithering up. These guys are gonna make for the 400th time. They're gonna close off this little section right here. They're gonna encapsulate and kill all those people, and then they're gonna connect up finally. So now they have a huge operation going down. It's all basically turned into one sort of just like ginormous front right here. It's all one big thing. Now, what was interesting is this lower area, like actually quite a lot of the Americans are gone from this area, and they don't know where they went. There's some interesting satellite things going on where it's like you can't really, they're not able to detect what's going on in this area of the sea, and then eventually they can't detect what's going on over here, and then the day of disaster strikes. The whole entire region where Helsinki, oh my gosh, dude, whole entire region where Helsinki is located has just been in secondhand, like it's been anonymously invaded by the US, but under the name of these guys. So it's weird, but that's basically Finnish people are going to call it quits, and they're going to say, you better stop it right now. We're going to do the same thing that Norway did. Yikes. Russia, they're going to fight pretty hard, you know. They're going to claim some Arctic land that no one lives in. They're going to claim some more Arctic land that no one lives in, that they kind of just like kind of went into. And everybody's pointing at Russia and calling them stupid because this is not doing anything. This is important. They are kind of trying, but they're putting more effort into this, which is ridiculous. But yeah, there's suddenly just like a lot more troops on all of the borders now, and Norway is beginning to get completely occupied again by the completely occupied by just the Sámi people. But yeah, we're gonna see quite a quite a strong thing going on here. Yeah, Sweden's not doing this. Sweden has surrendered. Whoop-de-doo. How accurate is the scenario? Not very accurate at all, but it's fun to make, and it's probably, I hope it's fun to watch, hopefully. But yeah, Russia is gonna just be grateful for what they have, and they're gonna try and claim as much as this as they possibly can, but there's only so much they're gonna be able to do. Let's go ahead and look at a long-awaited peace treaty. These are some pretty interesting, I don't know what to say. This is a pretty interesting peace treaty, and it's not realistic at all because I don't actually have an accurate province map of the world, which sucks. I need to figure out how to do that, but um yeah, there's a lot of changes that I need to go over. Let's start on the bright side for the blue team, and that's just gonna be like, you know, Finland takes this tiny little nugget of land. It's not much, but it's something. You know, Finland kind of got crushed because of someone. Um, and yeah, we're actually going to see quite like a decently prominent piece of land getting taken by the Russians. What the heck, dude? I hate doing this on a normal map. I need to fix this map so bad. Um, but the Russians are gonna go ahead and take their a little bit not so fair share of the thing, but also these guys got a lot of more valuable land, so it's fine. But basically, Russians, they did their job in the war, which was, I mean, they didn't really help Finland. That was their actual job, but they did their own job that they assigned themselves, and that was to help themselves and take the land that they wanted. Now it's time for all of the claims of the red team, which is ridiculous amount, and it gets even worse with the stupid thing because of Norway's stupid islands and mountains and stuff. But let me real quick draw all this in. Should be pretty quick, but this is a lot of land. It's a lot more valuable land than all of the land that they lost. They did not lose like anything. This is the well, at this point it's the Sápmi or Sámi Empire. Like this thing is pretty big. I mean, it's not that much bigger than it was before, but it's pretty big, it's pretty strong, it's pretty valuable, and it's pretty supplied by a foreign country. But yeah, boom, new force in the Scandinavian area, and new force to be reckoned with in the European continent. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This video took quite a decent, extensive amount of time to record. Sorry, I'm just showing everything onto the screen. I hope you guys have a good day. Get nice and hydrated, to eat some food. Say you love your family. Say you love your friends. And goodbye. I love you guys. Bye.